What's up YouTube? Gemini Johnny back again with another compilation of creepy TikToks to make you question everything. This is day 24 of our TikToktober series where I'm taking you through the weirdest, creepiest, and most disturbing footage I can find. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Alright, see what TikTok has in store for us today.
Is this proof that 9/11 was an inside job? When the Twin Towers came down on 9/11, many people thought that there were only 2 buildings destroyed, but if you search up Building 7, there is a completely different story. Well, you see. Footage from the tragic accident shows a controlled demolition of Building 7 as the Twin Towers were crashing down. Furthermore, when we dig a little deeper, we'll see that Building 7 was owned by Larry Silverstein, the same guy that the insurance companies just so happened to pay $4 billion to because of the attack. Was Larry Silverstein just the luckiest man alive?
Or what? I hate it when they do that. I hate it when they cut off at the moment that... Not that it really matters. It's probably just... I don't know. But my comments on that are that I know nothing. I wasn't involved. I was 9. Is that right? I was 10. And I don't have any conspiracies or beliefs about 9/11 at all. I believe the exact narrative we were given, and that's that.
The following footage was captured by a man named Danny as he attempted to document the terrifying haunting in his home.
Whoa. All right. I jumped. Not gonna lie. Not gonna sit here and act cool. Yeah, it got me. Man, that was pretty fake.
Photo is terrifying, but not for the reason you think. Sure, it does look like Abraham Lincoln.
That's Hasbullah. Hasbullah. How do you say his name? The little guy that's all over UFC all the time. I don't know who I'm talking about.
Lincoln is giving his wife a back massage from the afterlife, and that is spooky. But this woman here, Mary Todd Lincoln, was into some really witchy stuff and is the reason that the White House is haunted. Let me explain. So when the Lincolns were in the White House, their youngest son, Willie, died of typhoid fever. He was only 11 when he died, and Mary, who was already suffering from mental health issues, was inconsolable when he died. And in her grief and desperation, she started holding seances in the White House. At first, they were harmless. She would just conjure the ghost of Willie, whose ghost actually still haunts the White House today. But then they started getting out of control, and Mary was calling all sorts of ghosts into the White House. Guests would hear stomping and swearing come from nowhere. One person said they even heard Andrew Jackson playing the violin once. And the White House stayed haunted after she stopped doing these seances. When William Howard Taft was president, his aides said that they were being tormented by a ghost they called the Thing. And one woman who thought she saw it actually said it looked like a young boy. So when you see this photo, it may look like a gag, but Mary was up to some really witchy stuff in the White House. Be sure to tune in tonight for more spooky.
Let me show you guys a video and let's talk about it. So obviously that video was some sort of render in a lady in a white dress. But I want to talk about the fact that this lady in the white dress and the black hair over her face is so popular among ghost stories. Seeing a woman on the side of the road in a white dress with a ghostly aura around her has been dated back all the way until the 1600s. The first reported sighting of this was in Germany back in the 1600s. And this is global, so literally every single culture, every single region has this version of this. And it's always a lady in a white dress and black hair. One of the most popular versions of this is actually in the Philippines. A lady will stand on the road by some sort of tree. She'll be waiting for you to scare the life out of you. She'll even be calling for taxis, appearing in your back seat. And she's actually blamed for a ton of road accidents. This is also popular. I'm sure you guys have seen the video from Saudi Arabia. These people are driving in a desert. A lady in a white dress appears and is chasing them down. But let me know what you guys think about this urban legend in the comment section below. And comment for what you want to see next.
SCP.
There's also, I think in Mexico, La Llorona, and every state has a crybaby bridge. Like, I feel like everybody I've talked to has a story about a crybaby bridge. And the stories are always similar, but like different, but loosely the same story. And it's either a woman and her baby, or a woman accidentally drove off the bridge and died. and you can hear her wails, or you can hear the baby crying or something if you go there at 3 a.m. or whatever. But we had one in my town growing up in Oklahoma, and I've got a secondhand story about it that I might do a video or a video series on someday. But it had nothing to do with the bridge itself. It was just the area, and they were trying to get to the bridge. But yeah, anyway, story for another day. Let's get back to the video.
SCP-811 is a humanoid creature resembling a green-skinned, long-limbed female with unique features. Its sweat irritates skin, and it secretes adhesive mucus that decomposes organic matter into a black liquid it absorbs. Its bloodstream contains decaying material and uses anaerobic bacteria for metabolism.
Is this an X-Men villain? What are we doing here?
It lacks a traditional digestive system, expelling waste via projectile vomiting to immobilize prey. Its gruesome hunting technique involves aiming at faces or wounds, causing asphyxiation or bacterial infection. Personnel exposed to its waste can be treated with antibiotics if caught early. SCP-811 is a bizarre blend of physiology and predatory behavior.
Its arch nemesis is a man who can turn into a Wolverine, and a guy who shoots lasers out of his eyes, and some chick who controls the weather.
Revealing a disturbing adaptation for survival.
This guy claims he's from the future.
My name is Adam Archon, and I am a time traveler.
Adam Arkham claims to be a time traveler from the year 2045. So he was sat down for a lie detector test, and every question he was asked...
Sorry to keep pausing, but those lettuce wraps look fire. Or spring rolls, whatever they are, man, those look good.
Came true. Most of the questions were about 2045. And
Called
what he
it.
said was disturbing, yet kind of interesting. He claimed that everyone would have chips in their hand for identification and payment.
I do have an implanted chip in my hand known as the One.
Now what's crazy
Did they x-ray his hand? Like, seems like a simple solution.
is that's already happening now already. He also claims that the world will be ruled under one law, one world order.
In 2030, all of the world's countries converge into one supernation.
And that
coming
in
up.
this time they successfully cloned and regenerated dinosaurs and have dinosaurs
That part is actually, they're trying to do that right now. We've seen videos on it, allegedly. I don't know.
zoos. This is interesting because already right now they are starting the process of bringing back woolly mammoths.
It is true that aliens did land on Earth in August 2028.
So what do you think? Is he lying?
This is why you shouldn't eat homemade meals from the provinces in the Philippines. When you are a traveler or a visitor in a certain province in the Philippines, some might tell you that you should not accept foods a local family offers. You see, the food you just consumed is a dish that is something taboo, perhaps a mythical creature, or even more horrifying, a dish made from human flesh. After eating the dish, you are cursed or bound to the area forever.
What?
But this gets creepier. Ever heard of tik-tik or aswang? In Filipino folklore, they are shapeshifters, capable of transforming into animals or even humans. Their preferred delicacy is human flesh, especially unborn children. Some of these dishes might contain parts of these creatures, and by consuming them, you became a marked target or cursed. The Philippines is home to great dishes, but...
There was a story about the Santa Muerte,
But what?
right? There was this lady, her name was Teresa, and she was in jail because she had committed some crimes and shit like that, bro. And she wanted to get the fuck out of jail, bro, because she had to be in there 60 plus years.
She had committed some crimes and stuff like that.
So out of nowhere, her friends from the outside bring her this big ass box, and inside this big ass box
Was the Muerte statue?
exactly. So this whole time, like, she would pray to La Muerte every single day, like, yo, like, I'm trying to be free, I'm trying to be free. Give blood, literally, like, cut herself. Until one day she said it out loud, bro.
What the fuck
She
she did?
heard. She was like, can you just set me free already? I did everything for you. I prayed for you every day. I gave you my blood. If you want, you can take my soul. And I want to be free, though.
Oh my gosh.
And they do say that whenever you promise something to La Muerte, bro,
You have to do it, yeah.
you have to do it, bro.
Yeah.
She's gonna give you what you want, but you have to come through with your side of the deal as well. So next thing you know, the guy with a nice ass suit comes and says you're free. She signs her freedom papers, whatever. Weeks later, it turns out that a woman was found mutilated, badly hurt and stuff, and the murderer and shit ended up going to the jail that she went to, and he ended up saying that Teresa was the one who was brutally mutilated and murdered, bro.
I kind of saw it coming because he said that, I'll give you my soul.
And then also the legend about La Muerte, right? Basically, God, he sent down
3 of the most disturbing police sketches in the chilling backstory stories behind them. Number 1, the handyman. On the night of June 5th, 2002, 14-year-old Elizabeth Smart was abducted from her bed at knife point by this man. Her little sister was right in the same room pretending to sleep while everything went down. The immediate suspect was a handyman who had worked on the house just a few months prior. Despite being chilling, that sketch actually led investigators on a credible tip that took them to Brian Mitchell and his wife, where they had been keeping Elizabeth in remote captivity for 9 months. Number 2, the newborn woman. On March 10th, 2007, at 1:20 in the morning, an unknown woman was seen roaming the hospital floor at Lakeside Hospital. Dressed as a nurse in scrubs, she abducted a newborn baby girl that night and then seemingly disappeared. Through anonymous tips, she was located within 48 hours, but the way she was able to scour the hospital and evade security remains completely unknown.
Hold on. Because both of these actually just kind of looks like Ghislaine Maxwell. Just throwing that out there.
But the way she was able to scour the hospital and evade security remains completely unknown. Number 3, Lime Lady.
Also kind of looks like Ghislaine Maxwell.
This actually isn't a sketch of a suspect, but a victim. In 1980,
never mind.
The body of an unknown woman was discovered by 2 fishermen near a river. She had been covered in quicklime in an effort to decompose her, but it actually counteracted and she was preserved. For more than 40 years, she remained an unknown woman, and this sketch was a haunting reminder of her missing identity. But in 2020, DNA evidence was finally able to identify her as 20-year-old Tamara Lee Tagard, who went missing while on a walk just 4 months.
This is how we learned how long a head can survive without a body. At this time, the guillotine was a really popular way of punishment in France. And in 1905, a French doctor, I'm so sorry if I butcher this, Dr. Beauriot, wanted to figure out just how long a head could survive once it was... So this doctor decided that he was going to go to the next public execution and he was going to try an experiment. And that day, a man by the name of Henry Languille was set for execution. Again, I am so sorry if I don't pronounce any of these names right. Please feel free to correct me in the comments. And the doctor sat front row and center to try out his experiment. After it happened, the doctor began to take notes on what was happening to Henry. At first, the doctor noticed that Henry's eyelids were kind of fluttering, but that wasn't enough. He waited a couple of moments, and then when the eyes weren't fluttering anymore, he proceeded with the next phase. The doctor called out Henry's name and noticed that as soon as he did, the eyelids lifted a little bit and he looked right at him. Not only did Henry's eyes look up at him, but his pupils actually ended up focusing, and the doctor knew that he was looking directly at him. He said that when he looked into Henry's eyes, he was not looking at a dull expression, but of someone who was still living. But after a few seconds, the eyelids closed. So the doctor called Henry's name again, and once more, the eyelids opened, and he looked right at him. The doctor was convinced that he was looking at a living person. But finally, the eyelids closed for a second time, and when the doctor yelled his name for a third time, there was no response. The doctor noted the time, and he saw that the experiment had lasted for a total of 30 seconds. And that is why we know just how long a human head can survive without a body.
I'm gonna give you 3 seconds to try to guess what's happening in this video. It's gonna sound crazy, but people are saying that this light flickering is a desperate plea from a ghost. Let me explain. So this is the Halcyon House, and it's one of the most haunted houses in Washington, D.C. I talk about it in this week's episode, but this house used to be owned 120 years ago by a man named Albert. Albert went mad in the house and got into some really dark stuff. He thought if he ever stopped working on the house, he would die, so he hired a man to just continuously be working on the house. And he built whatever he could. He doubled the size of the house. He built stairways that went nowhere. There was even a door on the top floor that just opened out into the air. Albert was this huge collector, so he would buy Greek statues and mummies and just live in the house amongst his collection. Eventually, Albert does die, and when he does, he has some really strange final requests. He wants to be buried on the property, he wants a wooden stake driven through his heart, and he wants a promise that electricity will never be installed. But none of his requests were ever fulfilled, and now people say that this light flickers because it's Albert trying to turn off the electricity.
Video was uploaded to the YouTube channel Not Your Average Wife. The family explained that they can feel something strange in the basement, and they don't really like to go down there. But what makes this all the more creepy is that their German Shepherd dog seems to share the same thoughts in refusing to go down the stairs to the basement. Watch closely.
Alright guys, I'm going to show you one of the reasons we hate this house. This is the stairway to my basement. And this is our beautiful German Shepherd, Catherine. She refuses to come down these stairs. Catherine, come on, baby. Come on, pretty. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on, Catherine. Come on, baby. Come on, Catherine. No, she won't do it. But to prove to you that it's not that she's just afraid of stairs, we've got 2 other sets of stairs in this house that she's perfectly fine to go up and down. And I'm going to show you. Please excuse this mess. This is basically my daughter's playroom. So, see these steps. Look, look. I don't even have to tell her to go up them. Come on, Catherine. Come on. She's not afraid of stairs, guys. She's just afraid of the basement stairs.
The dog seems to be completely frightened to even go through the doorway, let alone go down the stairs to the basement. So perhaps she can sense something down there that remains unseen. What do you guys think? Did these dogs see a ghost? Let me know.
Dogs are so dope.
One day, me and my brothers and a group of their friends, they were all older than me, were having a sleepover. It started getting really boring, so we decided to think of stuff we could do. We came up with this one plan to go to the cerro, off-road areas, in the middle of the night, and we all agreed to that. We drove there and parked the truck, and we started walking into the dark cerro with no light. When we were walking, we see 2 white trucks flying down the mountain, so my brother told me to go prone, and so we all did. As we're laying there, we realized they had driven past us, so we decided to head back so we wouldn't get in trouble. But that's when things got bad. As we were walking back to our French truck, we see a goat, which was really weird since no rancheros lived around here. I asked my brother if he saw the goat, and he said that's just a normal goat, and as we got closer, the goat got on 2 legs and started to chase us. It was tall, with red eyes, and was walking on 2 legs. Thank God we got back safely.
Sounds like a skinwalker. Bro is on one. Damn.
The Teletubbies were inspired by 4 psychotic children, tortured in 1995 in a Bulgarian asylum called La La Land. It's the most disturbing conspiracy theory about the creation of this creepy show. And in the end, you will understand the true, dark origin of the word Teletubbies. In 1995, 4 children who died on the same day are said to have inspired the characters. Lala, a little girl, spent years incommunicado, her skin yellowing from lack of sunlight. Tohote, known as Tinky Winky, was deaf and had a facial deformity. The asylum caretakers left him out in the cold, which made his skin permanently blue from insults. Donka, known as Eudipsy, unable to speak, suffered from a congenital defect and always vomited life. Hippolina Poe tells us that she was thrown into the fire by drunken keepers, who mistook her for a log of wood, and she suffered severe burns. Despite this mistreatment, they smiled. Television was the only comfort these 4 children had. The director ordered the removal of all TV sets for 1 night due to the high cost of electricity. That same night, they were found dead with their stomachs open and their televisions inside, after having tried to hide them by swallowing them. Hence the name, the Teletubbies. All of them would have died smiling.
Pretty weird. Just a baby being weird.
Can you hold the fucking light straight?
This isn't a normal horse. I've looked up a weird situation like this. It's actually a skinwalker trying to form itself like an animal.
That one's weird.
Hello. She wants to come in, Hassan.
Oh, there's another one. Oh! You can't trick me. It was in reverse. Think you're slick. What is bro doing?
3 famous celebrities that are now ghosts. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was found dead on August 4th, 1962, and some say she still haunts the Brentwood home where her body was found. There are claims of Marilyn being seen in the mirrors of the home. Still checking out her beauty, I guess. Lucille Ball. Known for her beloved character in I Love Lucy, the mansion where Lucille Ball took her last breath is believed to be haunted. Unexplained noises and even furniture being moved on its own has been reported. She apparently also likes to visit the studio where I Love Lucy was filmed. Walt Disney. Walt Disney is believed to be one of the many ghosts that haunt Disneyland. There is even video of what some believe to be Walt's ghost walking along one of the pathways around Disneyland. Follow or subscribe.
I'm just gonna put it out into the universe. I would love to do a ghost hunt at Disneyland someday. That would be so cool. So yeah, if any corporate Disney people can get me access to the Disney park for the night, I would love to come do a ghost hunt. I have 0 qualifications, just like every other ghost hunter. If you made it this far in the video, just give it a like for me real quick before you forget. I know I do it all the time, so I'm just trying to help out. Thanks. Alright, back to the video.
A window to the soul. So this is a story that starts weird and just gets weirder. But first, a little bit of history. Way back in 1679, Irish Catholic priest Oliver Plunkett was arrested for supporting the Catholic faith, which at the time was considered a serious criminal offense by the English monarchy. He was held in Newgate Prison in London before being executed. And so here's where things get really weird. Over 240 years later, in 1921, Oliver Plunkett's head, yes, just his head, was brought to St. Peter's Church in Drogheda, Ireland, where it was put on display in a garish, ornately decorated glass box. The St. Peter's Church also placed on display the prison door of Oliver Plunkett's jail cell from Newgate Prison, where Plunkett was held for 8 months before his execution. YouTube user Vicky Bramshaw was on vacation when she visited St. Peter's Church in Drogheda, Ireland. She is recording the exhibit of Oliver Plunkett's jail cell door when she catches something absolutely unnerving.
This is the door of the cell in Newgate Prison, where St. Oliver Plunkett was imprisoned for 8 months.
He's a very most interesting figure.
What the?
Because he was one of the first ecumenical Christian priests.
There is a small opening in the ancient jail cell door, and some pale, ghostly face just seems to peek out of it at them. Vicky says she has no idea what this face could be. She says she has no knowledge of visual effects to fake something like this, and she didn't even notice the face until she reviewed her footage later. So is this the ghost of Oliver Plunkett still peering from his old jail cell door? Or is it just a very, very odd trick of the light?
Could be.
You decide.
I like how when people try to legitimize their weird footage by saying, like, I don't know anything about post-production. As if, like, you couldn't just lie about that. I mean, aside from having a public YouTube channel, I could if I just am talking to someone random, I'm trying to convince them of a video, just tell them, I don't know how to edit a video. I don't know. Seems silly to me.
Today
I know what it looks like when Lucifer's taking a dump. That's kind of cool.
We're talking about the Louisville Goat Man, the Pope Lick monster.
Just kidding. It was the Goat Man.
Part man, part sheep, part goat cryptid is probably one of the scariest things outside of Louisville. Now, he has been said to roam around the Pope Lick Trestle, which rides over the Pope Lick Creek. This is about 90 feet tall, but is responsible for more than 4 deaths from people dying from oncoming trains. Now, the origin of the Pope Lick monster is still a bit of mystery, but people believe it has to deal with a farmer and his dealings with the devil. Other people theorize it is a product of bestiality, but no one can say for sure. Now, some of the lore says that this monster uses mimicry and or hypnosis to lure people onto the trestle, and then they become stuck while an oncoming train takes their life. Now, the local government actually had to issue warnings to people to stop looking for the Pope Lick monster because tragedies were happening on the Pope Lick trestle of people passing away as they get hit by an oncoming train. Have you ever had an encounter with the Pope Lick monster? Tag a friend and let them know about this scary creature in Kentucky.
I've never had an encounter with the Pope Lick monster, but I've been stuck for the past 45 seconds on the fact that we have a place in this country called Pope Lick. Whose idea was that? You can change the name of the town. You only need so many signatures. Just get it together. You don't have to be called Pope Lick anymore. What's our high school? The Pope Lick priests? What's their high school mascot? The Pope Lick little boys? What's their high school mascot? The Pope Lick not women? Yeah. Alright.
This town in Queensland is said to be haunted by the ghost of a grey lady. These are the ghost stories from our own backyard. So sit down, dim the lights, as I tell you about the Grey Lady of Roma. The idea of a grey lady ghost is not uncommon, but this story is particularly strange. Roma is a rural town located in Queensland. In the late 1800s and before his death in 1922, James Laylor was an important part of the Roma community. He was the owner of the Gubba Ramunda station. In the late 1800s, James Laylor gave a man who worked for him permission to build on his land. That man's name was Mr. Bonner. The land was located behind the Roma Hospital, and Mr. Bonner built a small cottage for him and his wife. And the locals took quite an interest in Miss Bonner. She was described as expressionless, and was often seen wearing a grey dress. However, the Bonners completely disappeared one day, leaving food in their pantry and their cat behind. For a while, the cottage behind the Roma Hospital remained empty, until a man named Johnson moved in with his family. And things began to get really strange. The family said that there was an eerie atmosphere in the cottage, as though there was a presence that moved about, silent and unseen. One of Johnson's daughters, Tilly, became extremely ill, and had to go to hospital for an operation. And when she got home, she was put to bed immediately, covered in bandages. The next morning, she was described as being agitated and confused, and said that during the night she had been visited by a grey lady, and that the lady told her to take off all her bandages if she wanted to get well. The day went by until the afternoon, when her mother came back to check on her. She was found unconscious in her blood-soaked bed with her bandages removed. She unfortunately passed away before the doctor arrived. But the tale of the grey lady does not end there. Around the same time of Tilly's passing, her older sister was leaving the house on a date. As they were leaving, the young man had a sudden urge to look back at the cottage. And stood at the cottage in the moonlight was the grey lady staring back at him. He immediately bolted away, getting stuck in barbed wire in the process. The family then moved out after becoming terrified of the grey lady ghost.
Smart.
Since then, the grey lady ghost has been spotted by many of the locals, walking towards the hospital in the area of where the old cottage once stood.
There you have it, folks. Day 24 in the books. We've done it. We did it. We're doing it some more. If you're enjoying this series so far, be sure and check out the entire TikToktober series playlist in the description below, or just click over here. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It's right there. Just do it. But what are you waiting for? Just click it. Click it. Do it. Come on. Just click it. Click it. Click it.